Todd Monken is done with the Daniel Faalele slander. And honestly, the message couldn't have been any clearer. You can say what you want about Faalele's PFF grade, clip that one bad rep where he got blown up, but Monken is making it crystal clear. Baltimore is all in on number 77. That's their guy. And when your offensive coordinator steps up to the podium with that much conviction, defending a player the entire internet has already buried, that's not just a show of support. That's a declaration. The Ravens are backing Daniel Faalele. Period. Now, let's be honest here. We've all seen the play. It's been everywhere. One rep where Faalele gets bulldozed by a Colts defender and suddenly the narrative spirals. Social media does what social media does. Magnifies a single moment until it becomes the entire story. But Monken was having none of it. When asked about the criticism swirling around Faalele, he didn't sugarcoat anything. He was fired up. That one play doesn't define a man, he said. You see a guy walking to church doesn't make him a saint. That's Monken in full I'm backing my guy mode. And listen, it wasn't some throwaway comment either. This was emotion. This was conviction. And here's the thing, Monken wasn't just trying to spin a narrative. He's been around. He's seen what Faalele has done in camp. He's watched the grind, the physical transformation. The big man came into camp in better shape, slimmer, more agile. And despite the noise around that PFF 0 grade, Monken pointed to the work ethic, the consistency, and the growth Faalele has shown over the past few weeks. You might be looking at a handful of bad reps. The Ravens staff? They're looking at the body of work. They're looking at a guy who's shown up, put in the time, and earned his shot. Of course, this doesn't mean the concerns go away. The tape doesn't lie. Faalele had more than one rough moment in that game. He had real trouble in pass protection, got beat more than once, and looked overwhelmed in certain situations. That's fair critique. You can acknowledge the progress and still point out the gaps. In fact, you should. Because here's the truth, Faalele is still developing. He's a mountain of a man with insane raw potential, but the speed and complexity of NFL defenses, that's a lot to take in. And when your offense is built around Lamar Jackson, a quarterback who can erase mistakes with magic, it's easy to overlook the weak links until you can't anymore. And that's the risk Baltimore is taking. Because let's be real, this is not just some random guy that's slotting in at right guard. This is the man responsible for protecting a $250 million franchise quarterback. This is the player expected to hold the line so that Derrick Henry can run through defenses like a wrecking ball. This is not small stakes. This is championship football. And when your offensive line has a weak spot, even one, it doesn't just show up in the regular season. It shows up in the playoffs. In those brutal cold weather games where one blown assignment can end your season. You don't have to dig too deep into the Ravens' recent history to understand the stakes here. Remember the playoff loss to Buffalo? You remember how one single error, one breakdown, one miscue can lead to a domino effect that ends with your offense stalling in the red zone. This is not just about Faalele. This is about the margin of error. It's razor thin, and that's why this whole situation has so many fans nervous, because it feels like the Ravens are gambling on potential when they should be doubling down on proven production. Now, it's also important to mention, this isn't personal. Nobody is rooting against Daniel Faalele. In fact, quite the opposite. If you're a Ravens fan, you want him to succeed. You need him to succeed, because if he takes the next step, if he truly turns the corner, this offense could be lethal. The run game, already scary with Henry in the backfield, becomes absolutely unmanageable if the right side of that line holds up. And Lamar would have the time and space to cook defenses every single week. But so far, it's been shaky. Monken may be right about the internet blowing things out of proportion, but at the same time, the concerns aren't made up. Faalele didn't just get beat once. There were multiple pass pro losses, several plays where he struggled to get into space, couldn't get to his man, couldn't finish blocks. That's the reality. That's what the tape shows. And for an offensive scheme like Monken's, where linemen need to move, pull, create lanes in open space, that's a problem. And if you want to look at the big picture, here it is. Baltimore has made its choice. They're rolling with Faalele. There was no real competition at right guard. Not in camp, not in preseason. That job was his. From the jump. And that's what has people scratching their heads. Should there have been a competition? Probably. Will there be consequences if Faalele can't hold his own once the real games start? Absolutely, because unlike training camp, unlike preseason, the regular season doesn't allow for slow development. You get exposed fast. The real question now is this: can Lamar Jackson continue to cover for those mistakes? Because that's the unspoken truth in this whole thing. Lamar hides a lot. You see it every Sunday. The plays that break down, he salvages them. The pressure that comes flying off the edge or right up the middle, he sidesteps it like it's nothing. There are maybe 2 or 3 quarterbacks in the league who can do that at Lamar's level, and the Ravens have one of them. But as Monken himself said, that kind of gift can only carry you so far. And when you're going up against elite defenses, smart coordinators, and deep playoff rosters, those flaws get magnified. And that's where this gets real. Because if Faalele has another 0-grade game, or if he whiffs on a stunt in week 1 against the Chiefs or Bengals and Lamar takes a shot, the conversation shifts instantly. All the optimism or the he's coming along goes out the window. Suddenly it's, why didn't Baltimore address this spot in the offseason? Why didn't they bring in a vet to push him? Why are we risking a Super Bowl window on a developmental lineman? That's what makes this situation so tense. Because Monken can defend his guy all day long. And as a coach, that's what you want. You want your OC riding for his player. You want him to show belief. But at the end of the day, it's not about quotes at the podium. It's about what happens on the field. And Faalele's got to prove it. To his credit, the effort is there. The transformation physically, noticeable. The weight loss, the footwork, the conditioning, all of it points to a guy who's locked in and working. And that matters. That should not be overlooked. He's showing the kind of hunger that a lot of teams wish they had from their young linemen. But effort doesn't always equal execution. And the Ravens can't afford to wait another season for him to level up. Because again, this is not a rebuild. This is not a team in transition. This is a win-now roster. The defense is elite. The weapons are upgraded. Lamar is in his prime. And this window, it doesn't stay open forever. So yeah, Faalele's development is a great story, but this isn't a storybook league. It's results or nothing. Still, the coaching staff believes, Monken believes, the front office clearly believes, and that's worth something. Maybe they see things the rest of us don't. Maybe Faalele's bad tape is just noise, and in the controlled environment of camp and film sessions, he's making the kind of progress that doesn't show up on social media clips. That's possible. And let's not pretend that one viral lowlight tells the whole truth. But now we enter the stretch where there's no hiding. Preseason is rolling. Week 2 is coming. The Cowboys are next. The tape will tell the story. And if Faalele balls out, silences the doubters, and holds his own, you give him his flowers. You back off the heat. But if it's more the same, then the pressure cranks up even more, and the risk that the Ravens are playing with becomes even clearer. It's a dangerous game they're playing, but they've made their bet. Daniel Faalele's the starter, and from here on out, there's no turning back. Now, while all eyes have been on the offensive line and the drama surrounding Daniel Faalele, something else has been quietly brewing on the other side of the ball. And it's not just exciting, it's potentially game-changing. Because if you haven't been paying attention to what Mike Green is doing right now, it's time to wake up. This kid isn't just flashing in camp or stacking up meaningless reps. In garbage time, he's turning heads. He's forcing coaches to change their depth charts. And if we're being completely honest, he might already be the most electric pass rusher on the team. That's not hyperbole. That's not a hot take. That's just facts backed by tape. Go ahead and ask Brian Baldinger, who has been doing his legendary breakdowns for years. The man has seen elite talent come and go across every defensive front in the NFL. And when he talks, people listen. And what did he say after watching Mike Green in just one preseason game? He said Green was fearless. He said Green unleashed a full arsenal of pass rush moves. Not one, not two, 5 different techniques in a single outing. Spin, rip, speed to power, cross chop, and more. That's not normal for a rookie. That's advanced. That's polished. That's rare. And here's the kicker. Green's not just showing these moves for show. He's winning with them. Consistently. He's blowing by tackles. He's collapsing pockets. He's creating chaos. And he's doing it all with a motor that just doesn't stop. That ankle-bending viral image from training camp, that wasn't a fluke. That's who he is. That kind of bend doesn't just show up in the NFL unless you're born with it and then trained to perfect it. You don't fake that flexibility. That's the pass rusher DNA. What makes this even scarier for opponents is that Green isn't being asked to carry the load yet. The Ravens have their veterans. Kyle Van Noy, Odafe Owa, Tavius Robinson, David Ojabo, Adisa Isaac. All of them are expected to be in the rotation. But none of them, not one, has shown the same kind of natural fluidity and explosion that Green is putting on tape right now. This is a rookie who looks like he's already figured it out. Not 2 years from now. Not next season. Right now. And let's be real about something. The Ravens have needed this. They've needed a guy who doesn't just pressure the quarterback but wins consistently. Last year, they had the sack numbers, sure. But the pressure consistency, that's where things fell flat. Too often it was feast or famine. Either the pocket collapsed or the quarterback had all day. That won't fly in the postseason. Not against guys like Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow. You don't beat those quarterbacks with almost. You beat them with immediate, unrelenting pressure. Mike Green looks like he might be that answer. The guy who forces a hold on 3rd and 7. The guy who draws double teams, opens things up for everyone else. The guy who hits the quarterback and changes the momentum of the game. That's what the Ravens have been missing since the heyday of Terrell Suggs. Sure, there have been solid contributors. Matthew Judon, Zadarius Smith, Yannick Ngakoue and flashes. But Baltimore hasn't had a game wrecker off the edge in a long time. Green could be that guy. And look, nobody's crowning him just yet. We get it. It's preseason. The Colts didn't play their starters. We haven't seen Green go against top-tier NFL linemen over the course of a full game. That's all true. But it's not about who he's beating. It's how he's beating them. The moves, the speed, the leverage, the understanding of how to manipulate offensive tactics. It's all there. He's not just winning with raw power. He's setting guys up. He's stringing together counters. That's a pass rusher who knows what he's doing. The Ravens coaching staff sees it too. Chuck Smith, one of the most respected pass rush specialists in football, has been working with Green and already sees the potential. That's not just coach speak. That's a technician seeing the traits of a high-level finisher. And when you add Green's ability to defend the run, because yes, he's not just a situational pass rusher, you're looking at a future 3-down player. A guy you don't have to take off the field. A guy who can set the edge and still get after the quarterback. The numbers back it up. Green posted a pass rush win rate of over 30% in his first preseason game. For context, that would make him the most efficient pass rusher in the league if he sustained it. We're talking better than Myles Garrett, better than Micah. Parsons, again, it's one game. You don't crown someone off one performance. But you do pay attention when a rookie starts putting up elite metrics against grown men, even if they're backups. Because dominance is dominance, no matter who's across from you. And this is where things get interesting for Baltimore, because Green is pushing for real snaps. This isn't just a feel-good story. This is a depth chart shakeup waiting to happen. Oweh and Van Noy will still get their reps. But if Green keeps this up through the rest of the preseason and carries it into September, the Ravens are going to have to find ways to keep him on the field. And if that means less time for a vet, so be it. That's how the league works. You produce, you play. This also raises the question, what happens with the rest of the edge room? Because there's a logjam. The Ravens can't keep 7 edge guys. They probably can't even keep 6. So someone's going to be the odd man out. David Ojabo, Adisa Isaac, both guys who've shown flashes, but one of them might be trade bait. You can't let Mike Green walk. You just can't. If you try to sneak him to the practice squad, some team is going to snatch him before he even gets on a plane back to Baltimore. That's how good he looks right now. And here's the best part. Green's on a rookie deal. That's massive because the Ravens have big contracts looming. Lamar Jackson's extension is already on the books. Roquan Smith is paid. Kyle Hamilton's future deal is coming. You need guys on cheap contracts who can play like stars. That's the formula. That's how you sustain a contender. Green fitting into that timeline isn't just good. It's essential. You also look at the identity of this Ravens team. It's not just about offense. It's not just about Lamar and Zay Flowers and Derrick Henry. It's about a defense that can punch you in the mouth. It's about a unit that can end games. Green fits that identity. He's violent, he's technical, he's relentless, and he's young. That's the exact mode of what Baltimore builds around. Now it's still early. There are 2 more preseason games. There's joint practice. There's film to break down, coaches' meetings, adjustments to be made. But right now, Mike Green has momentum, real momentum. And if he keeps trending upward, you might be looking at one of the biggest steals in this year's draft. A player who fell to day 2 and ends up leading rookies in sacks by season's end. It's not out of the question. He's that talented. And let's give credit where it's due. Eric DeCosta has nailed this pick. The same GM who brought in Kyle Hamilton, Zay Flowers, and a slew of others has done it again. Green wasn't just a shot in the dark. He was targeted. The Ravens saw something in him that other teams missed. And now, that bet is looking smarter by the day. So while the discourse online keeps circling around Faalele and the offensive line drama, don't forget what's quietly building on the other side of the ball. Because if Mike Green continues on this trajectory, we might not just be talking about a solid rookie campaign. We might be talking about Defensive Rookie of the Year. And if he somehow reaches that level in year 1, everything changes for the Ravens defense. Pressure becomes consistent. Turnovers go up. The entire unit becomes more dangerous. And if that happens, if Green truly becomes what he's hinting at in these early reps, then Baltimore might finally have that elite edge rusher they've been searching for since Suggs left. A young cornerstone, a new face of the pass rush, and most importantly, a weapon who can take this defense and this team to a Super Bowl. Before we dive in, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Your support keeps us bringing you the latest news on the Baltimore Ravens. And hey, drop your take in the comments below. We want to hear from the flock. Under growing whispers from league insiders and local reporters, the NFL world was shaken yesterday by what could be one of the most unexpected developments of the offseason. Rashod Bateman, the young wide receiver who had been touted as one of the Baltimore Ravens' core offensive weapons for the future, is said to have confirmed his departure from the team. While no official press release has been issued by the franchise, multiple sources close to the player reportedly claim Bateman himself has privately acknowledged to friends and teammates that his time in Baltimore is over. The Ravens front office, famous for keeping negotiations and transactions under a tight veil of secrecy, has declined to comment, further fueling speculation. Some believe this could be the result of lingering frustration over his role in the offense, especially considering the team's heavy reliance on its rushing attack and tight end-centric passing game. Others point to a possible breakdown in contract extension talks that may have soured the relationship between the player and management. What is clear is that the alleged confirmation from Bateman has sparked heated conversations among fans, with many expressing disappointment and confusion on social media, wondering what the Ravens' receiving core will look like without him. The possibility of Bateman's departure raises a series of intriguing questions about the Ravens' immediate future and offensive strategy. Drafted in the first round in 2021, Bateman was seen as the long-awaited answer to Baltimore's struggle to find a true number 1 wide receiver. His combination of size, speed, and precise route running was supposed to complement Lamar Jackson's dynamic playmaking ability, offering the quarterback a consistent deep threat while also excelling in short and intermediate routes. However, injuries in his first 2 seasons slowed his development and limited his on-field chemistry with Jackson. This year, while flashes of brilliance were visible, they were often overshadowed by the arrival of other receivers and the continued dominance of tight end Mark Andrews in the passing game. If Bateman truly has confirmed his exit, the Ravens might be forced to adjust their draft and free agency plans, possibly targeting multiple wideouts to compensate for his absence. Critics of the team's roster construction have long argued that Baltimore has not prioritized the receiver position adequately, and losing a young player with Bateman's potential would only intensify that criticism. On the flip side, some insiders argue that his departure could open the door for a more balanced offensive identity. There's also the question of where Bateman might land if these rumors prove accurate. League speculation has already linked him to several receiver-needy franchises that could be willing to pay a premium for his services, including teams like the Chicago Bears, New England Patriots, and Carolina Panthers. Each of these organizations has its own reasons to pursue a receiver of Bateman's caliber. The Bears need a reliable target to pair with their young quarterback. The Patriots are desperate for an offensive playmaker to revive their stagnant passing attack, and the Panthers, in the midst of a rebuild, could see him as a cornerstone piece for the future. Financially, Bateman would command a significant contract, though his injury history could make negotiations more complex. Agents and front offices are likely watching the situation closely, aware that Baltimore's silence may not last much longer if he officially enters the trade or free agency market. The competition for his signature could become one of the defining storylines of the offseason. It is worth noting that players who leave Baltimore often find new life elsewhere, a factor that potential suitors are undoubtedly considering as they weigh the risks and rewards. From the Ravens' perspective, losing Bateman could signal a larger shift in team philosophy. Baltimore has historically been built on a foundation of defensive dominance and a powerful rushing attack, often using the passing game as a complementary element rather than a central weapon. While this strategy has brought consistent playoff appearances, it has also drawn criticism for limiting offensive versatility in high-stakes games, particularly when trailing on the scoreboard. Bateman's skill set represented a chance to evolve that identity, offering a more explosive and dynamic aerial threat. If his departure becomes reality, the Ravens may double down on their traditional approach, seeking players who fit their established system rather than restructuring it around a star wideout. However, there are those in the organization who reportedly believe this could be an opportunity to modernize, perhaps targeting more versatile pass catchers in the draft or making a surprising splash in free agency. The uncertainty surrounding Bateman's rumored confirmation has left fans and analysts alike dissecting every hint and movement from the team's leadership, searching for clues as to whether Baltimore will change its trajectory or continue along its familiar path. For now, the NFL community remains in suspense, caught between unverified reports and the Ravens' notorious discretion. Rashod Bateman's supposed confirmation of his exit has already had ripple effects far beyond Baltimore, becoming a trending topic across sports media and igniting debates on talk shows and podcasts. Some insist this is a negotiating tactic, a strategic leak to pressure the Ravens into offering a more favorable contract or defined role in their offense. Others are convinced the decision is final, pointing to Bateman's body language in recent interviews and his cryptic social media activity, which has included the removal of team-related content. Whatever the truth, the outcome will have significant implications not only for Bateman's career, but also for the competitive balance of the AFC. As the days pass without official word, the speculation only grows louder, with every piece of gossip treated like a clue in an unsolved mystery. The Ravens fan base, proud and passionate, waits anxiously, knowing that the resolution of this saga could shape the team's fortunes for years to come, while rival franchises quietly prepare to make their move if the opportunity presents. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay in the loop with exclusive news on our Baltimore Ravens, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. We'd love to hear what the flock thinks. Drop your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next one.